And welcome back inside the Student Activity Center, where once again it's the Hard Rockers of South Dakota Mines going up against the Trailblazers of Dixie State. Your starters for the South Dakota Mines: number 2, Cheyenne Bastion; number 5, Anna Thomas; Dana Thompson; number 6, number 12, Hannah Stevenson; number 16, Karen Hazard; and number 21, JC Kathid; and number 22, Victoria Zagorski. And they are coached by Coach Lauren Torvey Projaska.
Let's meet the starting lineups for your Dixie State University Trailblazers.
And your starters for Dixie State: number 1, Jordan Nelson; number 6, Lauren Gamble, one of 2 All-Americans for this Dixie State squad getting the start. Number 8, Sydney Johnson, also getting the start in tonight's matchup. Number 10, the freshman McKenna Nelson, sister of Jordan Nelson, getting the start again here tonight. Number 13, Megan Trainer, the other All-American from this squad from last year, making a start. Number 16, Lizzie Clark, also in the starting lineup. And number 19, Toa Faleo. And the Trailblazers are coached by Coach Robin Felder, her 8th season with Dixie State. And she has done a fantastic job with this program. You know, I'm looking at the wall. You guys can see it up across the way. 2015 Pac-West champions 4 years ago, and that was just in her 4th year. Now in her 8th year, a lot more experience going into a better conference. And even though Dixie State is new to the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, they're only going to be in it for 2 years before the whole university goes into Division I. That was announced a couple months ago that Dixie State would be going into the Western Athletic Conference. So this is the last year for all sports in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, and Division I is just around the corner, just next year, Division I. And what a dream come true for this university. I mean, I remember before I even decided to commit to come to Dixie State, it was just a small Division II school. And now, you know, just a short 4.5, 5 years later, already moving up to Division I. So big changes from the university as a whole, and going in the right direction. And we are just moments away from starting the first set between these two squads. The officials just checking out the starting rosters and getting everything cleared away before the start of the first serve. A lot of games throughout the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. And one of the early scores, Colorado State Pueblo with an upset over Colorado Mesa earlier today in 5 sets. Threw me off guard as I saw the outcome of that one, and away we go. And right off the bat, Dixie State, their defense was known. It was a big factor in last night's win. And once again, starting off the right way, and Gamble was right there along with, looked like Meg Trainer. And that hit coming off the hands of Hazard, and they were asking for a deflection, but no dice. Excuse me, that came off the hands of Zagorski. Nelson again. And that's going to start off with Thomas. And it's going to finish with Thompson, and Thompson gets that one to fall. Just out of the diving reach of the libero, McKenna Nelson. Perfect setup across court, and just one step to the right of Nelson. And there's Thomas with the serve. Faleo to Nelson. And it's going to finish with Trainer. Nice and easy for her. Bastion. And it's going to finish with Thompson again, and Nelson there this time. And it's going to find Trainer, and Trainer's hit too far out beyond the line, and 2-2 just like that. There's the serve for the Hard Rockers, and Dixie State with a chance right here, and comes through is Toa Faleo. And good luck trying to stop her from scoring, and she's probably the most powerful hitter on the Trailblazer side. And here is Faleo. And it's going to be a serving ace for Faleo. A little bit of a hesitation right there. Didn't think it was actually going to be an ace, but it falls. There's a serve again, a strong one. It's going to finish with Hazard. Blocked initially, and Gamble recovers quickly, nearly gets it to fall. Right over that front line, but Trainer's right there over to Nelson. Big swing from Gamble, and just kind of popped off her head. Couldn't get out of the way fast enough. Nothing you can do about that. And only one matchup between these schools going back to last year, and it was the same story as Black Hills State last year, sweeping the Hard Rockers last year 3-0. So looking to replicate that again this year, and trying to get a good hit on that. And that one is going to fall with a deflection, and the Hard Rockers get their first lead. Or excuse me, it tied up at 4 apiece here in the first set, and that is Stanley with the serve. Nelson popping it up over to Johnson. And that one off the hands of Nelson, running all the way back and almost getting that one to be a playable ball, but falls harmlessly to the ground, and a point for the Hard Rockers. Now they have their first lead here in the first set. Johnson with the effort on that play. And there's Johnson over to Nelson. It's going to finish with Johnson. Big swing, and stuffed immediately at the line, and leading the way is J.C. Keith. There's Stanley over to Nelson, to the other Nelson, and finish with Faleo. Big swing off the ceiling, able to recover. And Faleo over to Nelson, backdoor to Trainer, and Trainer smacks that one in there. And that combination between those three, we see it so often. Faleo to Nelson and finishing off with Trainer, and they can do all sorts of combinations, and that's what makes them dangerous. And Hazard to Faleo, Nelson, and this time it falls, and that's Lizzie Clark, who somehow got a hand on it and was able to get a point for her squad. We'll take another look at that, and maybe mistimed it a little bit, but either way it works, so tie game once again. And a quick attack, and that's Bastian. And Bastian with the quick awareness to see that nobody was in that open space. So 7-6 here early on in the first set. Faleo to Nelson, and it's going to find Faleo again. Softly hit. Another chance here for the Hard Rockers. And that hit didn't have a chance. That was low of the net. And that is JC once again. So back and forth here. Each team not getting a huge lead. And there's Trainer. And that's Bastian. It's going to finish with Hazard and off the shoulder of Faleo, but it works. And going to finish with her off the net. Hard Rockers with a chance right here. Johnson over to Trainer, back to Johnson, and saved again. And here's a good rally. And Bastian setting up JC and able to get that one to go through, and that was off of Oviatt. As the wall tried to go up and make a block on that play, but not happening that time. And that's going to be a serving ace for number 10, Emma Boak. Johnson over to Trainer. It's going to finish with Faleo, and Faleo squeezes that one on the far side. A good setup here once again, and finding that open space just out of reach of the Hard Rockers. And here's Johnson. Low serve, but a quick attack. And that will be Stevenson for the Hard Rockers getting that one done. And 10-8 here in the first set. And Faleo, trouble here early, but no problem after that, bouncing off the net. And it's going to finish with Hazard, and Hazard's hit doesn't get over the net. And pretty even matchup here so far from both squads. Nothing seems to be having a big advantage over another. Both teams playing very equally here so far. And Faleo trying to find the space, and she's able to get it down. Didn't need the power behind that one, just had the perfect placement, clear across to the far side and caught them off guard. And here's Clark. And that's going to be a serving ace for Clark, and that one just bounces off the hands awkwardly off of Hazard. That one just goes into the crowd, no problem. And here's Clark again. Low serve, but Hard Rockers got a hand on it. And big swing and blocked. And leading the way is Oviad and Gamble there to assist her. And 4 straight points now for Dixie State. And Clark again. And that's from Thompson. And blocked again, and Gamble's there this time. And Gamble, always an issue for opposing teams' offenses. And you see why right there. Here's Clark. It's going to start off with Thomas. And he's going to finish with Stevenson, or Hazard, excuse me. And a big swing from Faleo, and yeah. You see the display of power right there, and the first timeout for Coach Lauren Torvey-Projaka. And we're going to take a 30-second timeout, and we'll be right back here in the Student Activity Center on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
And we're back inside the Student Activity Center where Dixie State 6 straight unanswered points and currently have a 4-point lead, 14-10 over the Hard Rockers of South Dakota Mines. Second straight opponent for Dixie State from South Dakota last year, traveling to both of them, and another serving ace for Lizzie Clark, her second so far. And not doing anything special, but the Hard Rockers just miscommunicating on that. And Clark again. And that one, the effort from Zagorski, and that hit was short from the start. And Gamble was right there regardless if it was going over. And here's Clark. And another. That's a third serving ace for Lizzie Clark. And Coach Felder on the side loving it. And the Hard Rockers thought it was going out. And it looked like it was going out for just a second and dipped in at that last moment. And a fifth one. A fifth serving ace for Lizzie Clark, and she is on a roll right now. And another timeout for the Hard Rockers. We'll keep it here this time, but my goodness, Lizzie Clark. What a showcase from her so far. 5 serving aces in this run alone. They're on a 10-0 run right now and find themselves way out in front, 18-10. And this is the break that Dixie State needed early on here in this first set. Both teams going back and forth and neither team getting any kind of lead. And then all of a sudden, Lizzie Clark started serving, and that's where we are. And a lot of mental mistakes coming from the Hard Rockers, you know, and serves that should be able to come back over and just not being able to. So a little mental timeout for South Dakota Mines. And who knows, maybe we'll see Clark continue this success that we've seen so far, as they are always strong out of those timeouts. Let's go find Bastion. And that one finally stopping the 10-0 run. Dana Thompson from the back row and just splitting those 2 defenders right there. So here's Brewster. Waddell to Trainer. Big swing from Faleo, and back-to-back opportunities for Faleo, as Gamble was right there to save it off the net and setting up Faleo perfectly, and just too much power to block that one inbounds. So a quick attack. And it's going to finish with Trainer. And Trainer, looked like a lot of power was going to come behind that one. Instead, just placed it. Maybe had some spin on it or had a deflection on that front row, and it did. It was off the right hand of Stevenson. And there's a big swing, but blocked by that line. And again, and off the hands of Nelson and against the wall. So 20-12 here. And the Hard Rockers not going down without a fight. Here's Thomas. Low serve off the net. Gamble pops it up. He's going to finish with Faleo, and bang! Hard Rockers seeming to struggle with Faleo here so far, and I don't blame them. I mean, it'd be hard to return those. Faleo again. And a serving ace for Faleo. And I believe, if I remember correctly, that's a 7th serving ace so far just in this set alone. There's Faleo, and that serve. No ace this time, and that one sails beyond the back line. And that was the 6th serving ace for Dixie State as a team. And there's Stanley to Faleo. Nelson. Trainer, big swing, and inside that line. Pinpoint accuracy with that hit, and Trainer, if not the deadliest attacker, she's definitely up there in that category. And big swing, but Faleo's right there over to Nelson. Nelson, quick attack, and they're going to say that was a hit error. And Nelson knew it right away. We see that a lot from her. She likes to just flick it over and try and catch the defense off guard. Here's Thompson. And Johnson to start it off, over to Faleo. And it's going to finish with Johnson. And able to recover. And there's Brewster, and able to pop it up and keep it alive. Can they keep it going? And they can. Another chance right here for Dixie State. Trainer with the pop-up over and nearly getting it to fall, and that hit going out beyond the line. And a wonderful rally between these two squads, and Dixie State finally getting on board. Both teams with players all over the ground on both sides, and Dixie State finally getting that point. And we are at game point here in the first set, and Meg Trainer at the helm. And from Brewster in, and it will be a point for the Hard Rockers. So the set is not over just yet. They're going to say it was a block error by Gamble. So there's Faleo over to Trainer, and Ovia. Nice and easy hit. And quick attack from Bastion, and Bastion able to sneak one past that front wall. (24-16). And that serve is going to be an ace. And that would be Emma Boak. And the serve again from Johnson to Trainer. Back to Johnson. Big swing and off the hands of Thompson. And it's going to finish with Dixie State here possibly, and yes it does, and that is Lizzie Clark. Perfect execution all around the board for Dixie State. And Lizzie Clark with that final kill to make it a 25-17. Here's the last look of it right here. And perfect set from Trainer. Clark found the space in the defense, and 25-17 is your score. Dixie State taking the first set. And we will take a 90-second timeout, and when we come back to start a set number 2 and some stats from the first set. We'll be right back on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
And welcome back inside the Student Activity Center, where you just saw Dixie State take the first set 25-17 over the Hard Rockers of South Dakota Mines. And with you as always, myself, James Guerin, as well as everyone else here from CEC. It wouldn't be possible without them to bring you every home game, no matter what sport, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, every sport. So Dixie State with a 1-0 set lead, and some quick stats from the first set. And Lizzie Clark went on a showcase there with all those serving aces, and she only had 4 in that one. Seemed like she had more than that. But Toa Faleo had 2. And also led that first set in points. She had 8 in that set alone. So due for a big game once again from Faleo. So every team in the conference playing today. So a busy, busy weekend for the RMAC in terms of volleyball. And starting things off here in set 2 is Bastion. It's going to be Nelson and Faleo. And quick opportunity right here for the Trailblazers. Gamble and Gamble. Able to get that one to fall, and looked like it was popcorn off of the Hard Rockers for a little bit. And finally hitting the ground, and Gamble strikes first. And big swing, but Nelson's right there. Over to the other Nelson, and here's Trainer, and Trainer asking for a tip on the play, and they're going to give the point to Dixie State. As we take another look at it, and from that angle, I didn't see the tip, but the officials thought otherwise. And Faleo again. Big swing, and that one coming off the hands of Hazard. And Faleo was in the vicinity, but just out of her reach. Very easy setup right there, but lots of space in that back court. So here's Hazard. Nelson to Nelson. And big swing from Gamble, blocked initially. And swing from Trainer, and that one's going into the wall. And Trainer with the kill for the Trailblazers. So 3-1 here in the second set. Dixie State up 1-0. And here's Nelson. It's going to be Thomas. And it's going to finish with Thompson. And able to roll it over the net, and Sid Johnson improvises as, oh, it looked like it was kind of stuck to the net for just a little bit. And somehow had enough spin and velocity on it to climb over that net. And that coming off from Thompson, and Thompson strikes back again. Going through the hands of Lizzie Clark there, and Anna Thomas now. Faleo to Nelson, quick attack, and no error this time. She gets that one perfectly. And we see it at least a few times every set. Nelson likes to do that little trickeration. Here's Trainer. And it's going to finish with Bastion. Golden chance right here, and Faleo right to Thomas. Going to finish with Hazard. Nelson to Trainer. Opposite side to Johnson, and Johnson couldn't hit it with the right hand. She had to switch hands for the attack and sneaks that one over the front wall and makes it happen. So 6-2 here. Here's Trainer. Low serve, but off the ceiling. And Faleo to Trainer. And Lizzie Clark right there for that quick attack right in the middle. And Trainer can do it all. She can set, she can hit, she can dig, she can do everything. I don't think there's anything she can't do. She's one of the more valuable players to this squad. And that one right to Nelson, no problem for her. And Faleo, big swing, and coming from the back line, still too much power. And that one goes out beyond the back line. So there's Stanley in a low serve, and Stanley is going to get a serving ace. And just a low serve, you know, and Faleo was right there, just a step behind. And going to finish with Clark again. And that one rolls off the hands of Kothi. And Kothi was just a single blocker up there and just bounced right off of her. And able to improvise off the net. So another chance right here. And a point for Dixie State. So it was a point for the Hard Rockers. And it looked like a formation error. So a free point for South Dakota Mines. And quick attack from Clark, and the Mines are going to be able to return that. Good play, Trainer. Over to Collins. And Thomas going to finish with Hazard. And Faleo's hit. We're going to say it was deflected at the line, and you can see one more look right here. And maybe, but a point for the Trailblazers. And here's Clark. And a point for the Hard Rockers on, let's see what the official stats say, and it looks like it was a block error by Gamble once again. So Boki. And big swing from Collins, and Collins is denied, and leading the way is Hazard, and Hazard is everywhere right now for the Hard Rockers, who comes in second on the team in points, right behind Thompson. And swinging it over to Faleo, and yeah, anytime she gets a free open look, more times than not, that's going down to the ground. And that front wall just a little too late there. And here's Nelson. And going to finish with Thompson. But swinging it over to Faleo again. And Faleo gets that one to go down. Had that open look once again on the far side. The wall a little bit quicker this time, but no power needed. Nelson over to Thompson. And going to finish with Hazard, and that one stuffed at the line, and Gamble leading the way. Gamble standing at 6'2". Very hard to hit that one over her hands. And Nelson getting some work at the serving line. Bastion sets up Brewster. And swinging over to Faleo again. Big swing, and a point for Dixie State. And everything going in favor of Faleo right now, as she is just capitalizing on every opportunity her way. And Bastion. Nelson's right there, over to the other Nelson. Gamble, big swing, and off the hands of Stevenson. And down for a point, so 6 straight points for Dixie State. We'll keep it here. Dixie State took set 1, 25-14. And starting to see a little bit of the same here in the second set. Not as many serving aces. But Dixie State sure having their way here so far. And the Hard Rockers, they show signs of that they're going to take the lead, and then all of a sudden it just slips away from them. And Lauren Gamble right now making it difficult for the Hard Rockers to get some points, as she is just a force in the middle. And Dixie State has been known for that the last couple of years. That front wall that Coach Felder recruits, and that Gamble was an All-American for her defensive plays last year. And you can see why. So 14-8 here in the second set. It's going to hit right at Thompson. And Nelson right there off the deflection, and Gamble. And a set error by Bastion. So 15-8 here. And that serve sneaking inside the line, Jordan Nelson. And we've seen a lot of those tonight. And Stanley's right there, was going out. So Dixie State, diving effort from Ferris and Faleo. And Nelson going to set up Trainer. Trainer, big swing, and off the hands of Stanley. So sub for the Hard Rockers. Deja Biren in for the first time for the Hard Rockers. And gets her first attack blocked initially. Another chance right here. And Ferris right there, and Nelson may have caught her off guard for just a split second. So Coach Felder not upset with that one, threw her off guard. You never know if someone's going to hit, you got to prepare for the trajectory, so no problem there as they're up by 8. And that serve out of bounds from Bastion, and a free point for Dixie State. Here's Faleo. And that's going to be a serving ace for Faleo, and that's her third one of the series so far. And another timeout for South Dakota Mines, and we'll take one as well. We'll be back in 30 on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Welcome back to the Student Activity Center. A matchup between Dixie State and South Dakota Mines. The second game of conference play of the season. And the first home stretch here in the Student Activity Center of the season as well. That one right to Nelson. And to finish with Faleo. And Bartling with her first appearance here in the matchup, and immediately gets her first point. As just nearly getting blocked, but just popped it over that front line. So here's Brewster. And Gamble. And miscommunication between Thompson and Brewster. Didn't know which one was going to get it. And that's just one of those mistakes that you can't afford to have losing this big. It's going to be Bastion. And that is stuffed at the line. Another chance right here for Thompson. And Nelson to Nelson. Going to find Trainer. Big swing and right to Brewster. Faleo to Nelson. Backdoor to Trainer, and Trainer with a golden chance right there, and she knows it. She missed that one, and she knows she doesn't need to be told. There is nobody in front of her at all, and she just mistimed it. Here's Thomas. Faleo to Nelson. Finishing with Trainer, and there's that combo once again. Gets it to fall. Trainer with some redemption right there and quickly forgetting about that last mistake. There's Trainer again. And a serving ace and actually keeping alive with her foot. And that is legal. That is a legal hit, and I don't ever like calling anything lucky. But in that situation, it just so happened to hit her foot. But then again, it does take some skill to actually be able to pop up the ball. I do know that much. So 21-12 here. So short serve, and going to set up Faleo, and big swing, and going to fall off the hands of Kothi. So out by 10 here in the second set. And here's Johnson. And that serve inside the line. So a serving ace for Johnson. And we've seen that multiple times here throughout the night where the Hard Rockers think the ball's going out, but inside that line. And dangerous chance right here, and Collins makes the best of it and throws it down. And we are at game point here in the second set. Can Johnson close it out? And Sid Johnson is going to close out the second set with a serving ace. 25-12, your final here in the second set. So a short break in between the second and the third set. And we will be back in 2 minutes with more stats and analysis right here on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? evenings on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Student Activity Center, where we are in between sets 2 and 3. And Dixie State holding on to a 2-0 lead over the Hard Rockers of South Dakota Mines. And some stats for you. After the first 2 sets, your point leader so far, and if you guessed Toa Faleo, you'd be right. 14 points so far through the first 2 sets, has 3 aces and 11 kills, and that is far more than anybody else between the 2 teams. And Lizzie Clark with 8.5, most of those coming from the first set. And Meg Trainer right behind them with 8 points. And for the Hard Rockers, your leader is Dana Thompson with 7.5 points. Has 6 kills and 1 serving ace to go along with it. And errors have been the story for the Hard Rockers so far. And they have 9 errors through 2 sets. But you'd think that that would be more than Dixie State, but in fact, they both have 9 errors each. Jordan Nelson with 13 assists through those first 2 sets. And Bastion for the Hard Rockers with 8 assists through the first 2 sets. So if you look at the stat line, it doesn't exactly replicate what the scores have been, 25-14 and 25-12. And Dixie State running away with this one, and we'll see if Coach Felder will throw in, some subs that normally don't get any playing time, or will she just bring out full force and bring the hammer down and get out of here with a clean sweep. Who knows? Coach Felder's always making adjustments, and we'll see, what she does. And as for the Hard Rockers, not much that you can say, but other than just those mental mistakes that we saw through the first 2 sets, and more recently that one attack from Dixie State the set from the Hard Rockers, and the 2 defenders or the 2 attackers didn't know who was going to get it. Just little errors like that can be cleaned up from their side, and if they just minimize those mistakes, and maybe they'll make it a little bit closer, or in fact maybe take away a set. Who knows? And we saw going back to last year as well, Coach Felder, whenever she was up 2-0, she would throw in those subs, and then the game would get a lot closer than it needed to be, and then throw in the starters again. Coach Felder's full of tricks, and she's always trying different things. So, and what a better way to do it than in conference play? That's the best time, and especially if you do have surmountable leads, to get those players who don't get that experience, because the best experience is conference play. That is what they say. So just moments away here from starting the 3rd set. So it is the second of 2 games for this homestand. And they're on the road back-to-back weekends, so we won't see them again for a while. And Nelson starting things off. And that attack off the hands of Buren, and that one is stuffed at the line. So Dixie State striking first, like the previous 2 sets. And Jordan Nelson again. It's going to finish with Thompson, and off the hands of Trainer. And a deflection out of bounds. And so Anna Thomas now. Low set right there, but Faleo finishes, tipped at the line. Thomas swinging it over to Thompson. And that one off the hands of Gamble, spun around for just a second, lost track of the ball. So an early lead here for the Hard Rockers. Here's Thomas again. Faleo to Nelson. Backdoor to Gamble, and Gamble gets that one to go. And a little bit of a different approach from Gamble. She is that left-handed attacker, and I haven't really seen any other lefties on opposing teams, so Gamble is a rare player, and that one does fall for the Hard Rockers. Splitting the two defenders perfectly. So good placement. There's Stanley over to Nelson, and Gamble popping it over. And going to be an attack from Thompson. Faleo's right there to Nelson. Going to finish with Faleo. And Nelson right there. Good rally we got going on. Going to finish with Johnson, and Johnson. Her attack goes out beyond the line. And 4-2 here in the third set. Johnson wanted a deflection, but officials did not call it. So Nelson to Nelson. Swinging it over to Johnson. Big swing. Tipped initially. And tipped again, but Nelson's right there. And it's going to finish with Johnson. And she is able to get that one to fall. And kind of an awkward hit. That one did split the two front wall defenders. So here's the other Nelson, McKenna. And Dixie State right on that quick attack. Trainer right there smacking it down. Dangerous chance right here, and Trainer. And a little bit of a hesitation right there from the Hard Rockers. And kind of threw Trainer off guard, just jumped a little bit too early. So here's Thompson again. Right to Faleo. Nelson. And bending run from Ekblad. And Miranda Ekblad getting her first looks here in the match tonight. And she comes through. Kind of a sneaky attack right there. So here's Trainer. And it's going to be an attack error on Bashton. And tied here in the third set. And even if it wasn't, it would have been blocked anyway. So here's Trainer again. Low serve and dangerous chance right here. And has to play it safely. And front wall popping it back up. So Faleo over to Trainer, and it's going to set up Ekblad, and Trainer nearly keeping it alive as that one bounced off the net. And that was Ekblad's attempt being blocked at the net. So a different story here between the second and the third set. So Trainer finding Faleo, and off that front line and falling in play. And you see Faleo hitting from beyond that first line a lot. And I think it's because she's so much stronger than everybody else. Every time she hits the ball, it's coming at you at 30 miles an hour. And so maybe that's a strategy that Coach Felder had figured out. And you see Faleo once again. And you see how far out of play that went. That went all the way up to the back row of the bleachers. So a lot of power. And right there to stuff it is Oviatt and Ekblad. They're there to deny any attack. So here's Johnson. Thomas. And a bending run coming from Burend. And that bending run is pretty hard to defend because you don't know which way the attack is going to come from. So here's Bastion. And that serve out of play. Good eye by Faleo. She was right there. Kind of flinched in that direction. Wanted to play it for just a second. And a free point for Dixie State. So there's Ekblad's serve. And there's B. Wren, and that will be, that attack was low, so it didn't go over the net regardless, so it wasn't blocked. And Dixie State now with a little bit of breathing room. Big swing and stuff, but another chance right here. And Gamble punching it up, keeping it alive, and there's Daughtry. And Daughtry, first time showing up in this series and gets that one to fall. She had a lot of playing time early on in the Desert Garden Classic. Didn't see her at all yesterday, but comes through right there. It popped up, and Trainer was the first one there and couldn't pop it up. That was Bartling for the Hard Rockers with the kill. So Allie Brown now. So Daughtry, the trainer, and Oviatt, and Oviatt came off her hand a little awkwardly as she shakes it off. Maybe stubbed a finger or something, because that just came off not the way she wanted to. So Trainer to Gamble, and popping it up is Oviatt. And playing it safely. And big swing from Bartling. Swinging it over to the far side, and Nelson right there. And it's going to finish with Faleo, and bouncing way up, and players tripping over each other. And Thomas, if she didn't trip over her own teammate, she probably would have made it there in time. As you see right there, just slips out of the way. She may have been able to make a play on it. So Dixie State with another point, up 12-9 here in the third set. Right to Thomas. And it's going to finish with Thompson. And Gamble popping it up. And Dixie State thought they had it, but it was one too many hits. As you see, Gamble's first attack didn't make it over the net, so the hit count technically didn't reset. So here's Thomas. Nelson to Nelson. Big swing from Gamble comes flying in. And blocked again. Gamble pops it up. And Nelson play it safely. Thomas. And big swing from Bartling. Stuffed at the line. And there they are, the Twin Towers. First time I've said that all tonight. And Faleo and Gamble are right there. And here is Faleo. Bastion, and he's going to find Bartling. Gamble popping it up to Nelson, and no one's talking on Dixie State's side, but doesn't hurt them just yet, and off the hands of Trainer and out of play. So the Hard Rockers able to overcome that, and that was right off the hand of Trainer. So Stanley now. Faleo to Nelson. Trainer. And Trainer didn't need all that power. She just needed the deflection and got it. So here's Nelson. A chance right here. And that one, I believe, was Allie Brown. So Allie Brown gets her first kill. And just found that open space right in the middle of everybody. There's Dana Thompson. Vallejo to Ekblad, and dangerous chance right here. And that's Kothe. That's what I like to call picking up the garbage and just throws it down. There's Thompson again. A big swing from Trainer and off of multiple defenders and getting it to fall. As Kothe and Stanley, either one of them could return that. Trainer again. Bastion setting up Thompson, and Thompson's hit too low from the start. Had no chance to get over the net, but front wall was right there to stop it. And here's Trainer. And that's served low. We don't see that very often from Trainer. So rare mistake from her part, and substitutions for South Dakota Mines. And Emma Boki now. Trainer setting up Johnson, big swing, and right down Broadway. Splitting Boki, and I believe it was Thompson that was back there. And they just kind of froze in place as that one was fired in there. Here's Johnson again. And it's going to start with Brewster and end with Brewster. And Vallejo trying to find that back corner. Berend right there, Vallejo. Berend again. Trainer, Nelson. Going to find Oviatt. And dangerous chance right here. Going to find Vallejo again, blocked. And back and forth rally we go. And going to finish with Oviatt. Trainer to Nelson. Going to find Vallejo. And Vallejo gets it to fall. After what seemed like an eternity back and forth. And a timeout for South Dakota Mines. And we'll take one as well. We'll be back in 30. Don't go anywhere, though. An exciting finish on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I groomed the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Welcome back to the Student Activity Center, where Dixie State holding on to an 18-14 lead over the Hard Rockers and currently hold a 2-0 lead. So looking for back-to-back sweeps now and back-to-back nights before they hit the road for 4 games. So their next home game, October 8th, that will be against Westminster. But before that, they have to get through the Hard Rockers. So here's Johnson. Got to finish with Brewster. Nelson to Trainer. And Ekblad having to improvise, nearly getting it to fall. And going to finish with Vallejo. And Vallejo gets that one to fall in, finding that opposite back corner. It's going to start off with Thompson and Berend. Trainer to Ekblad, pops it back up. And Oviatt wasn't on the same page as everybody else and just not in the right place. So 19-15 here in the third set. There's Bastion, right to Daughtry. And too many hits as what could have been returned, but that first dig by Daughtry was too close to the net. Here's Bastion again. And Nelson calling it off, and that's going to be a serving ace for Cheyenne Bastion. And just like that, it's a 2-point lead for the Trailblazers. Daughtry to Trainer, finding Faleo, and finding the inside of the line, going completely opposite. And those ones are so hard to defend. You think that the attacker's just going to go right down the middle, but instead just completely switches the point of attack. Bastion going to set up. Going to be Brewster, blocked again for a second time. And Faleo to Trainer, Gamble. And just punched, and that's going to be B. Wren just kind of improvising on her own. I don't even think she was looking that time. She wasn't. She just kind of popped it over, and Ekblad was in the area of it. Nelson to Trainer, going to finish with Gamble, and Gamble with a hesitation attack, it seemed like. Didn't go for it right away. Waited for it to kind of come down a little bit and right over that front wall. So here's Nelson. Right to Thomas. And that's Thompson. Going to finish with Faleo again, and Faleo. My goodness, have we said her name a lot throughout tonight. And another timeout for the Hard Rockers. We're going to keep this one here. So 22-18 here in the third set. Dixie State already taking the first two, 25-14 and 25-12. This one a little bit closer, so maybe a little too late for South Dakota Mines, but maybe they sort of figured out Dixie State just a little bit, but could just be a little bit too late as they are facing a sweep. And Dixie State looking to go 2-0 in conference play, and that'd be huge to start off conference play right. Hard Rockers only been swept 2 other times this season so far. Here's Nelson again. And that serve low from Nelson, and we don't see that a lot at all either. And it looked good for just a second. Here's Thomas. Daughtry to Nelson. Gonna find Faleo. And that was hit right towards Bastion, and Bastion just could not do anything about that one. And that's when the power comes into play and is dangerous. Faleo serve. And Thompson. And Thompson, the leading scorer for the Hard Rockers, comes through and makes things interesting here in the third set. Here's Stanley. Rainbow serve. Trainer, big swing, and Trainer. Trainer sets Dixie State up with game point here in the third set. Everybody on their feet. McKenna Nelson, can she end it right here and bring out the brooms for the second straight night? Finding Thompson and right towards Nelson. And Nelson couldn't return it, so Thompson keeping her team's hopes alive for a late game rally. So here's Thompson. And that serve out. Meg Trainer calls it out, and it in fact is out. And a clean sweep victory for Dixie State. So hope you guys have your brooms. Second consecutive sweep for Dixie State, and they start off conference play 2-0. And what a better way than to go 2-0 in your first homestand in the Student Activity Center. Rocky start to the season, but with their 6th consecutive victory in a row, Dixie State has caught fire early. And even going back to last year, finishing 22-6, now they're 7-3. So an awesome, awesome start for Dixie State. And looking at the stats from all 3 sets, and I think it's pretty easy once again on who the MVP is, and it's Toa Faleo. She led the team with 22 points and 18 kills with a hit percentage of .485. Those are just outstanding numbers, and I bet Coach Felder and everybody else at Dixie State is glad that they have their leading attacker back. So 3-0 sweep, Dixie State over South Dakota Mines, and their next matchup for Dixie State will be next week Friday against Western Colorado. That will be on the road at 7 p.m. and then Colorado Mesa next week Saturday. So, and then 2 other road games the weekend after that. So it will be a while before we see this volleyball team back in action, but a good homestand and a good message to the rest of the conference here. So 7-3, 2-0 on the year for Dixie State. So for myself, James Guerin, and everybody else here at CEC, we thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Aloha.